Welcome to Dr. Friday and welcome to the show where we talk technology. And today we have some exciting new guests to be joining us shortly. In the meantime, let me introduce myself. I'm Roshan Thiran, and every Friday at 6 p.m., I am joined by the most handsomest guy in the world, according to himself, Karamjit Singh. So welcome, Mr. Handsome. And he has a beard that he struts around to show that he's very honorable, and I don't know why he keeps a bit, but anyway, Karam, welcome to the show, and we have
Thank you.
exciting. We've got Aaron Sarma, and we've also got Ong Kian Yew, who is the executive director, the big boss in PIKOM himself, who'll be joining us. And actually, Ong and I were just talking about our old days when we used to have our daughters hang out together, balleting together, while the two of us bored men would catch up on stuff. But tell us a bit about Ong and PIKOM, and Karam, maybe we can bring on into the show. So Karam, your introduction.
Yeah, so no, I mean, Ong has been with PIKOM for quite a while, and then he left and actually joined one of the leading big data analytics companies, FusionX. And then I think PIKOM realized they needed him more back then. He's back in PIKOM now. I think his FusionX one was like a secondment, give him, some real industry experience.
Right?
Yeah, and then so to know what it's like from an entrepreneur point of view, building a tech company. But he's back now, and so PIKOM is the Malaysia's ICT, National ICT Association. So the reason why we are having them and Ong is because the government this morning just announced our digital economy blueprint. They are calling it My Digital. So for those of you who are not Malaysian or listening, because Malaysia's internet domain name ends with a .my, .com, .my, my. So which is actually wonderful, because a lot of things then we can say my this or my that, right? So in fact, if Steve Jobs was Malaysian, he would have said my Apple, right? Not iPod, or it would have been my Apple or my pod or whatever, right? So really, that's seriously, I think he would have done that. But that aside, so this is and PIKOM has got like over 1,000 members. Almost all the large companies in the country, technology companies, are their members. They don't really attract startups, although Ganesh Kumar Banga was their chairman just recently, a year and a half ago. But startups tend to go elsewhere. They see PIKOM as like an old school, PIKOM to them is like Facebook, like, hey, we are not interested. They want the Instagram, kind of thing.
Anyway.
I don't know, but anyway, so but because PIKOM has got a heavyweight, right, and they've got the government's ear also, we want to hear from PIKOM what they think of this.
We've had Sean, I guess, from PIKOM also, deputy.
Yeah, that's about Penang, because they are promoting, 2020.
So let's get Ong Kian Yew on the show. And let's get him on. So great to have you, Kian Yew, and welcome. First time on Tech Talk. I mean, he just told me literally this is first time on Tech Talk, first time here, being watching Tech Talk. So welcome. Really glad to have you. Karam usually wants to grill you and massage you and do all kinds of funny little things to you. So I will leave him in your good hands, and then I'll come back in a second to join you guys, because I'm going to give you what we call the Test Your Guest Challenge, where we're going to ask you some really cool questions all about Karamjit Singh. Okay, so with that, Karam,
Okay. Thanks for the kind words, but Karam.
No problem. So Ong, one tip, when Roshan comes on and start being annoying, you can say that, sorry, Roshan, I can't hear you. Thanks a lot. I'm going to log off now. Okay, just tell him that so you don't have to go through the torture of those 5 questions. No. He seems to love to ask. Okay, so
tell me about the torture.
Yeah, I didn't know you're going to do it on you. So that's a pro tip. Just say you got audio problems, video problems. Okay, drop off the call. Anyway, also congratulations, because you are the first guest on Tech Talk to actually wear a jacket. So feels very formal and all. Thank you very much for adding a level of sophisticated GQS to our show.
Because you say I become a bit old school, so the jacket really shows it.
There you go. You are right. There you go. But anyway, old school doesn't mean it's out of date, because really, your members, I think the revenue wise, like in the tens of billions of ringgit a year, right? If you want to throw numbers about and impress the listeners. But anyway, because you are the National ICT Association of the country, and we've just introduced our digital economy blueprint, which to me is probably of all the plans we have, I also, of course, biased, right? Because I covered technology for the last 2 decades. To me, this is the single most important plan the government has announced, and we all get on board and make it successful. And if there are parts of the plan that we think are weak, we have to aggressively now voice out that, hey, this needs to be improved, or right? Because I think the government will listen, and they will listen to nobody more than PIKOM, I guess. So curious to hear what PIKOM thinks, right? So on a high level, for those of you who haven't read about just hold on, about the introduction of the Digital Economy Master Plan, really is about, moving into a digital economy is about staying competitive, becoming even more competitive, right? Taking market share from your slow-moving competitors, in this case, slow-moving countries, and of course, creating high-value jobs and assisting our SMEs to be competitive in a world where customers don't care. If they can buy online, they probably buy online from somebody else. It's my son's birthday today, and my wife this morning was telling me to go and buy a cake, and I'm like, oh man, I'm busy. This is the wrong time. Can we just do it tonight? And then suddenly, like an hour later, she said somebody's sending the cake over at 3 p.m. or actually they came about 5 p.m. And I say, what? How did you order and get someone to make you a cake or whatever in 4 hours? She just went online, and she said this guy's reviews were good. He's a former baker in a hotel cafeteria, a restaurant or whatever. So easily done, right? To get things online. So that, but the SME, so the country wants to strengthen our SMEs, because SMEs are competing not just locally now, they're competing globally, right? I remember when the DFTZ came on, a lot of SMEs and even the association were saying that, man, this is a Trojan horse. Now all these Chinese SMEs can easily and quickly, sell to Malaysia, and we're not going to be able to compete. So that has not happened yet, but I'm sure some business has been lost to them. But that's just an SME example. So I'm trying to give a sense to the readers, the listeners, that this digital economy game plan is super important. We need to get everybody on board, our companies and our Malaysian public, students, teachers, everyone. So that aside, why it's so important. So Ong, please tell us what are the immediate thoughts from PIKOM, and also what are the concerns, and what are some of the things you want to say, hey, this is a great idea, we got to make it work.
Okay, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on
Not
today.
at all. Not at all.
Let me just correct one misconception. PIKOM, we do represent some startups, especially during Ganesh time. We introduced the virtual, the venture investment chapter. We brought in a couple of startups, but we still represent quite a number of the multinationals,
of course,
the software, some of the largest software players.
Yep.
So that is in terms of what PIKOM does. But in terms of today's announcement, I think plans are plans. So the plan is actually quite comprehensive.
Oh, okay.
They ran through quite a long, I would say, gestation period before this came out. I remember we were engaging them maybe even before the first MCO. There was some engagement with EPU at that time, together with their consultants. And subsequent to that, I think they also did try to do a couple of surveys and focus groups that run by the consultants. Comprehensive in the sense that I think they cover the 5 broad areas. It covers businesses, it covers the public sector, it covers infrastructure, people, and I would say society as a whole. So if you separate people when it comes to human capital, as well as society in terms of how can society get involved in the digital economy. You can break down, and of course, it's very detailed. I'm probably not the expert on that. EPU and the folks are the expert, and KKML and the experts in those areas. But it looks like it's very comprehensive. But plans are plans. I mean, we have heard of so many plans.
True.
There was an IoT plan. I'm not sure whether you knew about 2-3 years ago, they launched a national
IoT roadmap or master plan. Yeah, correct.
Master plan. There is an AI one coming up. As well as the National Science Council also are working on certain plans. So we have multiple plans, and this one looks like an overarching one, which covers, I think, 4 or 5 major sectors. We have NITI taking care of the economy, we have KKM in charge of infrastructure. So it's great, but now how to put the pieces together. So I think it is in the action that really counts. How can we execute it well and make sure that we don't keep on. People are saying we are falling behind, at least in the investment standpoint.
No, actually, we are falling behind. Investment point is very clear, right? Everyone's saying we were the second worst in ASEAN last year, correct? And honestly, I don't blame foreign investors. When the political situation is in a flux, right? Nobody can use COVID as an excuse. COVID hits everybody, so you leave that aside. Because the government is seen as being unstable, so people are talking to this minister promising the sun and the moon, and you can promise Mars also now, because according to Elon Musk, we will soon be living in Mars. Maybe I heard a podcast from him, and he says that probably in 5 years or 6 years you can already have the first small colony of engineers and scientists in Mars. So, but that aside, I'm saying that you can now promise the investors even Mars also, but will they listen to you? Will they say, hey, Ong, how long is Ong going to be here as the minister on this portfolio, right? I think I'll wait. And you can't wait, right? There's Vietnam pulling you in, Thailand, Indonesia. So the political situation has just killed us in invisible ways. And this is one very obvious way now, right? So, and this is the reality we face until really the next election. So in the meantime, when you look at this plan, what can we do to all just get behind it and run fast, right? Because we cannot run medium. We cannot say we're going to do a measured pace because it's a long run. I think we got to start at the near sprint and maintain that no matter what. I could be wrong, so please disagree with me. So I think I've been too forceful, Roshan, until Ong's connectivity has frozen on him. I was so forceful that I froze his connectivity. In Texas now, the whole of Texas is like in a deep freeze. I just froze his connectivity with the.
I think Ong's back. I think Karam, you talk too much, right? So we need to let Ong talk more. So I'm gonna kick Karam out and I'm gonna bring Ong back. So Ong, answer Karam's question. Karam's not here. I'm gonna talk less. You talk, right? So tell us a bit what your response is to Karam.
Okay, I missed a certain part. Actually, my line dropped. I intentionally used cable, but the line dropped. So what was the question? Yeah. Okay.
There
you go, Karam. Nobody's even listening to you, Karam. He doesn't remember the question.
No. My point was that because we are behind, we have to not sprint, but we have to be at a near sprint and maintain that fast pace. So we cannot go slow or be measured about this. So that's my point. But is there anything about the plan that PIKOM is concerned about? Hey, this isn't well thought out, or this is on weak foundation?
Okay, I think the plan is great, lah. So I wouldn't be critical of the plan.
Fine.
And in my little knowledge of going through it, I mean, it looked like a very comprehensive plan. So I wouldn't be able to find specific faults with it. There's something for startups, there's something for micro SMEs, a lot for public sector, which is good because government can lead the transformation.
Yeah, correct.
As well as you bring in society and then take care of human capital. But we also,
Ong, there's I think you made this point, right? The keys Munira, I think this Dr. Munira who's also sort of saying that the key is execution, right? So when you look at it, I mean, our track record of execution, as Karam pointed out earlier, is pretty poor. Whether it's IoT plan or so. Do you think we're going to be better in regards to execution when it comes to this plan?
Oh, that is a tough question because we had challenges with execution, and there are some legacy issues that we need to address. So it's good that they have all these 5 committees. If at all, I think we also issued to answer some of the questions from the media earlier, if at all there's one area we think we're going to focus on, I think it's infrastructure. Because in the other rankings, I think you look at the World Competitiveness Report, the IMD as well as the WEF, we are not too bad in most areas. When it comes to infrastructure, I think that is where we kind of lag behind. It's probably a variety of issues, and maybe this session we cannot cover all. But some of it got to do with incumbency. It's got to do with access to market. So these are some of the issues, and I'm glad there'll be one specific to infrastructure. And PIKOM is also involved in the committee, and we hope to be able to provide at least some input from the industry side. What are some of the challenges that we face?
In terms of infrastructure, actually, if you look at the article we wrote, actually the Prime Minister spoke quite a bit about infrastructure because it seems like they recognize that is a hygiene factor that all the other 4 pillars need to build on and to run on, right? Not walk. So they recognize that, and because they already straight up said that there's going to be, let's say, US 5.2 billion, right, going to be invested over 5 years on the fiber, mostly fiber, maybe radio waves a bit, right, to strengthen existing connectivity. And they hope to cover actually almost 100% of populated areas in stages, right? by the end of 2025. So we're in 2021. So in 4 years' time, they hope to almost have 100% of populated areas covered by fiber, and that's significant, right? So the government recognizes that, so they're putting out there, and then you can be measured against that. Hey, you're saying this is what's going to happen, and then they also mentioned that there's going to be about $400 million invested into submarine cable connectivity or so. That is by 2023. That's 2 years from now. And there's yet another number. They said they're going to invest about $4.5 billion for implementing 5G nationwide. So right up front, the Prime Minister during his talk was talking about this financial investments right on the infrastructure. So while you were saying there's weakness there, it seems they recognize that and they try to get it strengthened quicker, right?
I saw in the report, at least the earlier part of the report, Malaysia is like ranked 40th globally when it comes to speed tests, whether it's UCLA speed test or any speed test. So I think in terms of a trading nation, I think we are the top 20 trading nation.
Yeah, always. Yes.
Yeah, so we need to bring that down. I think to be a competitive trading nation or economic power, at least in the region, we need to make sure our connectivity is strong, that our infrastructure is there, and nobody is left behind. So the plan has it all. I have to give them credit that they thought through, the consultants and EPU, as well as all the stakeholders, thought through what are the areas that need to be looked at.
Yeah, but when you say this, infrastructure is not good enough, I'm glad that people are not happy, because honestly, to me, our infrastructure is pretty good. It's above average. So let me give you some data points. 90.1% of households have got internet connection, and this is 2019 data. They haven't come up with 2020, right? So you're going to see this go up. This is how 90% of households have already got internet connectivity. That's 135% mobile cellular penetration, again 2019 data. And then when you mention speed test, we're actually 40th number, 40 in the world for fixed broadband. So to me, that's not good enough. I always make the point that anything digital, we want to be in the top 15, okay? Top 15 in the world. That is a stretch goal, but we've got to aim for that, because when you have that hygiene factor, your hygiene factor is so high, entrepreneurs can do a lot more crazy things, right? And can take risks and can innovate. And then our mobile subscriptions for 4G, we had 70% of people have got 4G subscription. So again, the numbers are in the right direction. We're not talking about 40-50%, trying to get to 50%, right? We're already in the final percentile. We're in the final quarter. But I know we're not happy. Malaysians are pushing, and that's great. Continue not to be happy, to push further.
Yeah. So when you quoted the statistics, 135% or 138% mobile penetration, it's okay. But many other countries today have also moved into that territory. When you talk about home connection to internet, I think it also included mobile connection.
Yes, of course. Correct.
So while the world is moving towards mobile, we still need to make sure there's enough fiber that goes into the home. So I think that would be one measurement that I think we would like to see. In most of the reports, we find that Malaysia tend to lack there, and I think we can do a little bit more. So this plan, I hope will help then we can move there.
And so I know when you say home broadband, I know that there's a data point here that says that for fixed broadband, the urban penetration is 35%. So I know you're 35. So you're not happy. That's great. Urban, when you talk about mobile broadband, is on 89% penetration. So okay, good that you're pushing, and PIKOM is going to keep pushing, right? And I know that the telcos also will want to keep pushing, and all the startups, correct?
Yep. So we are in the committee that is chaired by the KKMM minister, the cluster for infrastructure.
So sorry, because there are non-Malaysians listening also. So this is our communications ministry, which includes the telco ministry. Okay, KKM minister, all right.
So we are in that. We hope to push this so that their voice is heard, the users' voice are heard, and what is required to help Malaysia to move to the next level.
Okay, good. I guess if I do have one issue with the plans, because I think Munira also saying when you know that our execution is poor, not good enough, you need a much tighter. Anyone who's in project management, you need much tighter project management and oversight, right? And very public reporting also. So like when Gobin was pushing for 5G, they were doing a quarterly report. So every 90 days, there's a press conference and there's quarterly report to tell you what's going on. So everybody knows they're going to be measured publicly in 90 days. And I think even with this also, They need to do that. If even can you even do it shorter, because you can do it every 2 months. And I make the point for 2 months because our foundation is already strong on, right? We don't need to say we need time to we need to dig the roads and this and that. No, none of that. We should have every 2 months, right? A update, right, by the respective people. And I'm also glad the secretariat is under EPU, or Economic Planning Unit, because it is not under a particular ministry then, because EPU is overall, right, takes care of the whole country. If you were to put it under MDEC or under MIMOS or whatever, then you won't get
silos.
Correct, silos. And this is a good move they made, to make sure that it's under a neutral, all-encompassing agency. So that's a very good move. But I want to see actually every 60 days reporting, a press conference, right? And the media can grill them about this and that. And people like you who are not happy, you may not be want to be so direct with the government, with KKM. You'll feed the journalist questions, right? Hey, ask them about this. This is moving very slow. Not acceptable, right?
So we need to have index lah. Although they have certain measurements, certain low-hanging fruits that they put in, but maybe we need to have a index of maybe 10 items that we want to look at and continue to measure every 2 months, every 3 months. Maybe that's something that we can do.
Correct. And then be public. They didn't say that we're going to look at these 3 indexes, right, 12 months from now, right? Or not 12 months, in the 2021, we want to look at where Malaysia stands in these 3 indexes. Maybe it's the INSEAD, Global Innovation Index, right? And you can pick any two, right? And I know they like this United Nations also. Roshan, the United Nations has got the e-government index. And because like you say, Ong, the government wants to push, cloud-based, right? And they can move things faster. So, maybe we say, look, we are number 40 or 41 on that index. We hope that in 2 years' time, we're in the top 20, right? And the point for everyone to realize, every country which is in the top 40 or top 30, they are running. Everybody wants to be in the top 20, So you can say, hey, wow, Malaysia is great. Like they're talking about want to be in the top 15. All the other countries are saying the same thing. So we got to really move, we maybe not sprint, but you got to be at the brisk run.
Can you, I want to ask you, PIKOM is a pretty big organization. I mean, there's a lot of heavyweights and big organizations as part of it. And you this kind of, you were in PIKOM and then you came back. I'm sure, maybe you can share a little bit, because I think it's a great organization and more organizations should be part of it. What sort of advice would you give SMEs and others, in terms of why they should be part of PIKOM and why, more and more organizations should, and what PIKOM can offer, I mean, essentially, because I think that many of them are listening to our show.
Thanks. Thank you for allowing me a bit of commercial time. Yes, it's true, we represent some of the bigger boys, but at the same time, we want the small and medium-sized companies to also be part of the tech community here in Malaysia. So this helps by having more members in the small and medium-sized industry to be part of PIKOM, so that our voice also can represent some of the smaller players. We try to do that, but of course, at the same time, we have to balance it with some of the expectation from the multinational. And we are represented on like 40 to 50 government committees, all the way from some chaired by the Prime Minister, like the National Science Council, to like on standards development that may affect small and medium industry. It's just that we may not see it at this point in time. We also promote a lot of business development through business matching programs with foreign organizations, such as our network to our social, the Asian Oceanian Computing Industry Organization. So we make sure if you're looking at Thailand as your market, Vietnam as your market, we will have a partner there who can help you to at least have a soft landing.
Or friendly landing, correct.
Friendly, at least with some face, okay, I know this guy, I can pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, we have this member who's going there. So we can help you with that. And we hope to see more, especially maybe ISVs, the independent software vendors, the software developers, will join us and to continue to support the association.
So, I mean, knowing you guys and the work, I mean, some of the work you do is amazing. But, every guest that comes in, I want to talk a little bit about execution, but we've got another guest, Aaron, that's coming in. So we'll put some of the execution questions to him also. But, every guest has to go through what we call a test the guest challenge. And this is very fast, 20 seconds on, very fast. So I'm going to ask you very quickly some questions and you answer as fast as you can. Okay?
Okay.
Question number 1, what is the best Wi-Fi password that you've ever seen?
The best that PIKOM.
PIKOM, that's the best. I thought you were going to come up
ABCD 1 2 3 4.
Beat Karam or something. Okay, never. Okay, so not very cool, PIKOM. Okay,
You come to my office, you connect to the Wi-Fi there, you would not be able to guess the Wi-Fi password.
You want to tell us that everyone in the whole world will know now? Okay, question number 2. What is so cool about PIKOM?
What is so cool about PIKOM? I think the people are the cool part. I think everyone who joins PIKOM, whether or not they are paid like myself, or they are in the council or in the committees, I think they want to see the industry grow.
Of course.
They want to see it grow. They want to create a vibrant environment for the tech industry.
Very, very good answer politically, and very, very, very well answered. Okay, question number 3. What is the most ridiculous fact you know?
Fact I know that Malaysia somehow can do better, but we are still ranked a little bit low when it comes to internet speed. Number 40 not good enough for me. Number 40.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Okay, and Karam will have a story for that, I'm sure. Question number 4. In 40 years, what will people be nostalgic for?
I think as we're going in 40 years from now, I think they will think, what happened to ICQ? I still remember. Maybe they'll be nostalgic for ICQ. Maybe that's something that.
Okay. Maybe COVID-19, or will be a vision. Will be what time? Will Vision 80 or something like that at that point in time, right? From Vision 2050 to.
I wouldn't. I didn't dare to add nostalgic about Facebook. So that one I didn't dare to add. But since you asked.
Okay, last question, very easy one. What advice would you give Karam to allow guests on the show to speak more and him less?
Maybe include guests who have a little bit more beard so that we can at least match Karam. The length of your beard gives you the right to speak longer. So people like me and you don't have much. So that's the problem that we have.
The beard is the length of your speech is dictated by the size of your beard. Okay, got it.
Moses had a beard. Nabi Muhammad had a beard. Lord Buddha, I'm not sure. Like Guru Nanak had a long beard.
I will ask Aaron Sarma whether Karamjit Singh, Buddha, Moses, and whether they all are in the same category. That's a question for our next guest, Aaron Sarma. So we're gonna take a short break, and people are laughing at you, Karam. Ha 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 ha. You see. Even our good buddy Jega is
that laughter is based on realization that, oh my God, it's the truth.
Okay, but we have some great comments, from Dato' Muniarlo. He talks about execution, and I think one comment she made is that execution must be led by able, capable, and competent people, which is scarce demand in our country in some places and some ways, or maybe they're there. It's just maybe they're not unleashed or found. And I think
I hope the EPU is listening. I hope EPU is listening.
And to your point on key dashboard measurement index to monitor success with regular. I mean those I think she kind of agrees with what you've also said. So we'll take a quick break right now, a quick 15-30 second break, and we'll be back shortly with our brand new guest, Aaron Sarma, who is not new, he's been on our show a couple of times. But in the meantime, we are going to Africa for a short break. So here we are.
What I found out, I just gentle. Guy, I just discovered this new learning platform they call Nicole. Man, that's the real deal, I tell you, man. I just paid only $50 for 1 year subscription, and my life don't change. I don't use that how my job for this one, I tell you so. You don't believe me? I tell you, I've been saying the link after I finish this call. Guy, you remember when I tell you, say, to learn 8 hours a day for class, they tire me. This is the real solution for me right now, because I learn in bite sizes at my own time, any place, anywhere where I want to learn. And if you get content across the board, oh boy, no be paper. I tell you now the real deal with this. Okay, no worry, I go send you the link. No worry, I send you the link. We could talk later. I want the Nicole Martin to go. Yeah, I go to Nicole. I don't tell you now. I'm not tell you. Go sign up. No waste time. The link now, digitaldynamics.org. Okay, we go chat later, babe. Okay, I have to go back. Bye bye. I'm on this Nicole now the deal. Oh boy, I go to Nicole to go. No easy.
Well, welcome back. And Karam, you speak a bit of Pidgin English also, right?
No, I have no idea how to talk that.
Because half the time, we struggle to understand what you're saying. So I thought you were speaking Pidgin English there. But we've got another guest, and we'll bring
it's not Pidgin English. The intellect there's a huge gap with Pluto and Mars. Pluto and Earth. So a reality, that's the gap. So you can't even fit into the camera here. That's the gap, okay?
Yeah, today I took a lot of effort because we're in the middle of Chinese New Year to put some, you at the side here you see like a little Chinese flower and all. See, I am trying to be tasteful and all. But our next guest, so we had the executive director for PIKOM, and we'll bring him back in a bit for his final piece of advice. But we've got another guest. We've got Aaron Sarma, and Aaron's, Aaron we had you in last year. Aaron, welcome to the show. So
hello. Hey guys.
Are you in Bangsa Shopping Center chugging
no,
down
not.
alcohol
I'm
this
home
time?
today.
Oh,
no,
wow.
No, I'm home this time.
So for the first
Karan
time,
gave me notice this time.
Okay, so we have Aaron at home, which, usually with Karam, one guest will be jogging, another guest will be in the middle of a spa, another one is half
This
naked.
is true.
So with Karam, I never know with the guest. So to have Aaron at home is almost quite a luxury. So Aaron,
and, I grew my beard out so I can have more talk time than Karam. So
I think Ong, when the next time Ong comes on our show, watch out, he'll have a beard. Okay,
exactly.
He's figured out the secret to talking in the show. The more
I hope we don't come up with you on one side, then me in the middle, and Karam on the other side, because then it looks like this is the aging progression. We'll eventually all look like Karam. No, I hope that's not how it looks like.
Okay, I'll do the rearrangement in a second. But Karam, you had Aaron on the show for a reason. You want to talk a little bit about Startup Malaysia and a few
No, not Startup Malaysia, because Aaron is
ScaleUp Malaysia.
Yeah, I know. One of the principals and founders of ScaleUp Malaysia, and it's all about startup ecosystem and building the next generation of disruptors and innovators. And that was mentioned in the Prime Minister's speech and in this plan also. And I was interesting to note, Aaron, that they said that they're hoping to support or to see the creation of 5,000 startups by 2023. So I love that, because there was a time frame, a short time frame, and it's a big goal, 5,000. And guys like you will be saying, yeah, great. But I guess I was disappointed there was no injection of fund. Look, we're going to put in 100 million to help this happen one way or another. That would have been really huge. So disappointed that hasn't happened. Of course, it can still happen, right? I'm hoping they're listening and they will do that to just get people crazy excited to say we're going to do this. But aside from that, Aaron, what are the thoughts of you and Doc Siva, right? And I know you all have prepared, you've gone public with a position paper also in the government before, which they adopted a lot of points for. So many people are really happy about that. So do share the thoughts of what you see with this plan.
So thanks, Karam. I was really anticipating this release because My Digital was something that we've been hoping for a long time. And I think it's really important for the country that we've got a good digital plan. I think in the context of the economic recovery that we're looking at, I think our digital plan will be our destiny, right? How we do this is going to impact the economy of tomorrow for the country. Okay. I think there are a few areas it needs to impact, right? It needs to do some work in government, it has to impact people, and we talked a lot about infrastructure and connectivity. It also has to impact business as well.
Right.
So I don't know if you like what I'm going to say. So I feel like my hot take was I felt that this wasn't aggressive enough.
Okay.
So for something that's going to impact the digital economy of the country in 10 years, it felt a little bit muted, right? And it almost, just looking through the document, I was reading it this afternoon, it almost feels like there's a little bit more bureaucracy now because there's all these things. And I'll qualify what I was saying in a bit, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that this was positioned as is this is going to help us become the pulse of the region, the digital pulse of ASEAN, right?
That's a big ambition, right?
It's really big. So that's why when this was, I was like, really? This is going to make us the pulse? I felt that this is going to probably keep us in pace rather than make us the pulse, right? So I think three main general feedback. Firstly, I mentioned it's not bold enough for a 10-year plan. I think you mentioned this now about the 5,000 startups in like 2 years. I think that's good. But generally speaking, the overall plan should be something that has a sense of urgency. I was on a show yesterday and I was talking about this as well. I said in corporate boardrooms these days, we don't even do 5-year plans anymore.
No.
The world changes so fast, right? And digital in particular changes even faster. So I would love to have seen an 18-month plan. I know they've got a phase 1 plan that's a little bit briefer, but I felt like there should be very bold stuff because this is a transformative moment. We're looking at economic recovery. This is the time for us to do it, right? You mentioned just now, Elon Musk said that in 5 to 6 years we'll be in Mars. Mars tech was not part of this plan. but to the point, right, that in a matter of months, these things will change, and we need to be able to adapt. So I'd rather have seen something much more focused, pointed, targeted, because that I think will have more impact for right now, right? And a few things I picked up from the notes, right? Like they want to have 90% internet connect. We now have 90%, and they're targeting 100% internet connectivity in 5 years. I feel like, can't we move from 90 to 100 in 2? Like, what's stopping us? Right? Isn't 5 years too long? We want a 30% uplift in productivity by 2025. Can't we do that faster? Because we claim technology makes us more productive in a much faster pace.
True.
Digital economy is going to be 22% of the overall GDP in 5 years.
Yeah.
But we're already at 20 in 2020. Yeah.
So I looked at that. I was stunned by that. I say, what? What the hell is going on, man? Do they think that we're like Somalia? Let's move slowly. I mean, what the hell, right?
So,
I was really shocked at that.
And if you think about it, right, we went from 0 to 18% in 20 years. It should be way faster, especially now with the pandemic, and every business in town is going online, right? And so that should be. So I felt that it was, in terms of ambition, I wanted a lot of more from it, right? The other thing was, I know Kian Yew, every single sector was touched, and I thought that was good. But I felt that they need to be a bit more focused, right? Like, where's the 4IR stuff? Where's the Malaysia 5.0 stuff? I think this kind of stuff would have been interesting and really transformative. I would love to have seen them say, okay, maybe we don't play in certain areas, like, biotech is not for Malaysia. Double down agri-tech. Yeah, some people may not win, but I'd rather win in 2 or 3.
Of course, absolutely. Yes.
And be not successful in anything we do because we're trying little bits of everything, right?
Yeah.
I wanted more focus. And I think my third and final point before I know you probably have a follow-up. I think the fact that there's now a council to kind of look over our entire digital plan is great. Because for a long time, we were all saying that, there's no guiding body. Every agency is competing with each other. There's a little war going on. They're doing things that each other is doing. And as market industry people, it's really, really confusing. So having that plan and having a council look over it is great. It's also really, really good that the PM is chairing it. But like all of you have said today, like, execution is key. And my biggest fear, and I've looked at, if you've seen the table that came out in the overall plan, it looks very busy, man. Like, it looks like a bunch of agencies, a bunch of ministers, all reporting to the PM. So I'm just concerned that it's not lean enough. And you and I know that in digital spaces and digital businesses, being lean and agile is the key. You got to be able to flip on a dime and make plans, right? And so I would have rather seen a much smaller council with less people, but with autonomy,
more authority,
and a bit of, like, the kind of the mandate to make things happen, right? Because right now it does kind of look a bit like a red tape extravaganza, right? So that's kind of the worry that I have. Also, final point, I do wish there was a little bit more private sector involvement in the council itself, and for people to give comments and give feedback. So I think these are the 3 things, my view, maybe not as bullish, but I think there's a lot more we can do. Yeah.
Like even the council, there should be someone that when he or she is speaking, you say, oh, here goes Mr. or Miss Negative, or not negative, but never satisfied enough, right? We're doing that, and you need to have that, because otherwise everybody starts supporting each other, because we are behind, and we have a responsibility, those of us who are in the ecosystem, right, to actually to move faster, right, to make things happen. Otherwise, we're going to be screwed. So literally, so we have to move faster. And I was telling Ong, we already have a good foundation, so there's no reason why we can't move faster. So the composition of the council, they need to bring in 1 or 2 rebel rousers or people are not happy, who've got the credibility to say, hey, this is too slow or whatever, right? Like maybe get like Patrick Grove there, check his IC first, whether he's Australian or Malaysian. I can't think he's Malaysian, so
give him a Malaysian passport, it's okay.
Yeah, give him a damn Malaysian PR, right, on the spot. But we got to get people who are like aggressive, who are a bit crazy, right, who are willing to do things. Get them on his council, because you're right. It feels like a bit too civil servant driven, not enough private sector zest there, right? So I'm a bit concerned about that, and the GDP one just was a clanger. I hope somebody made a mistake and said, sorry, it's actually, we're supposed to be 42%.
42,
42.1%.
I looked at that and I was like, am I reading this right? Like, is it 22% in 5 years? Really? Like, we're already 20% at 2020. Like,
So really, people, the ecosystem, people look at that, they say, hey, these guys are not serious. So that is a huge clangor to me, okay? I hope they come back and say, sorry, we were wrong there. No, right? I don't know.
We're getting a ton of comments and questions. So, one is apologize. I mean, some people are asking about Afsal joining us. He's not going to be around. He unfortunately couldn't make it. But Rais, I think this is Rais Hussein, who is MDEC.
Yeah, MDEC is listening in. Okay.
Welcome. And looks like we've got a chairman of MDEC joining our show. So, beautiful must be accompanied with great execution. And I think that's something that everyone is saying, right? Because that we are Jago idea or Jago concept or Jago tema.
Jago blueprint, Jago rangkaian, whatever. Yeah, okay.
We are champions when it comes to slogan and blueprints and McKinsey style frameworks, but I think it, in the execution, whether it's education blueprint or others, that's something. He continues. It must go beyond PowerPoint engineers.
Of course, yeah.
And I think a comment from Dato' Munira, it lacks clear and effective strategies for local ICT business. While there's a focus on startups and FDIs, what about companies who had stayed resilient and continue to employ?
Absolutely,
I'm going to bring Ong Kian Yew back to the dialogue, because I think PIKOM will have a say in some of these things, or might have. I suspect with your affiliation, but I think Dato' Rais adds a couple more. We need a situation room for My Digital.
True.
Hey, that'll be awesome. Dato' Rais, let's do that.
And there's a couple more. Where there's what about women in tech initiatives?
No. I disagree with that, Munira. I disagree with that.
Okay, but again, TikTok is about a dialogue. So again, we ignore Karam. We'll have a dialogue on it, whether he agrees or not. I feel that we lack the moral courage to tell the authorities what needs to be told. And Karam apparently
TikTok Friday does not lack any moral courage or any courage. Okay, no.
Karam, people like you, That's why I like Karam. He calls a spade a spade.
Yeah.
But sometimes Karam calls a spade a digger and stuff like that. So beware. He's got funny vocabulary. So beware of that, Jega. But Karam, you have a fan. So you've seen a couple of comments, and obviously inside the mix, I don't know. Somehow there's an Elon Musk fan that for leaders today, young and old, who want to be like Elon Musk of the world, what do you think they should be doing, creating and thinking? So I'm not sure how that relates, but never mind. We take them all. And I know, let's just have a robust dialogue among us. What are your thoughts? I mean, you hear our MDEC chairman say this. We've got Dato' Munira Lui, who's also a pretty. She herself is a woman in technology, and then of course we got the executive director of PIKOM here, Ong Kian Yew, and of course Aaron is an entrepreneur who's a successful. You start the business. Now you're doing ScaleUp. You're trying to work the ecosystem. You're presenting blueprints and plans to the government to drive change from within and outside. So we got a lot of people here in this dialogue. Let's talk about this because I think it's a good forum to start the dialogue.
Yeah,
go.
Okay, maybe the one with the least amount of beard. Maybe I'll start a little bit first. Right. One point that I would like to make, to grow from 20%, which we are now, 20% of GDP, even to go by 1 percentage point is actually not easy. In 2015, we were probably about 18+%. So it took us a long time to actually go, because the other sectors of the economy is also growing. So
actually, that's not exact. Actually, 2018 we were 18%, and 2020 we went to 20. So what I'm saying is that the rate of acceleration is going on an upward curve, right? And because of the digital adoption that's being forced by the pandemic, it doesn't have to be 42 I think that was us being snarky But I think the rate of growth needs to be much sharper.
It can't be so small. It just can't be so small, right?
So that's definitely a typo. And then Ong, actually, Aaron Sarma comes and he's breathing fire and brimstone, right? Saying this is not good enough. And I sync with him, right? I'm aligned with him, and then it actually makes PIKOM seem way too old-fashioned or too comfortable, because you are saying it's a great plan and all that, and because you have the ear of the government more than ScaleUp Malaysia, Aaron Sarma. So if you are saying it's good and all, and they're going to hear this reinforcement, we're all screwed. I'm telling you, I'm going to move to Somalia, man, where people are aggressive. We're going to overtake Malaysia. They're slow. So I'm sorry to be critical, but when I hear what you say,
somebody might just buy you a ticket to Somalia. So beware what you wish for.
But I think the key is not so much. I think if we execute everything, Malaysia will be a wonderful place to do business.
Yeah, brilliant. Yes.
Yeah. So that is not so much about, I mean, yeah, okay, there may be certain things that may not be seen too aggressive. For example, public sector, in the old days, we call it public sector computerization. Today, we are still talking about the same thing, but we just call it digitalization. So this is like 30 years ago. It's essentially about the same thing. But while that is true, I think we execute everything well, or at least to a certain level, Malaysia would be great.
Yeah. But we the point is we need to do more. And I think Rai's thing about the situation room, right? This war room is great, right? And then that 2 weeks of that every 2 months, if we can have that accountability, have a press conference and talk about where we are. And I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but look, you got to be uncomfortable to light and you got to light the fire under many people. And really, it scared me because when Aaron said that, it felt like a red tape extravaganza. Honest to God, my heart just froze. We cannot afford to have that, man. No country has been successful in the world when the word red tape is associated with that country. We got to cut through that. So I hope that we right. For some reason, Rice is aligned with us. I think so. Hopefully, Rice has enough clout to light a fire. Guys say not good enough. It's a good start, very good start. But we need to quickly do more. And the plan has to be alive, right? You got to keep updating it. Okay, this is the next version. Maybe in 4 months, only 6 months even, right? Hey, this is version 2 of the plan. We're updating this because this is, outdated already or whatever. And also, I guess we should also blame PwC, right? They're the ones who came up with the plan. So you get a plodding old organization. Of course, you can get a plan like that one. So why didn't we get a young, hungry, a bit crazy, right, organization, right? Like ScaleUp Malaysia or whatever to help.
It's all PwC.
I mean,
wow.
We're going to get the partners of PwC coming next on the show next week.
Oh, wonderful! I would love that. Yeah.
Karam, we have this legal letter here to say.
I know the chairman of PwC. I'll get Dato' Faiz or what, or Fias or whatever. I'll get him to come on the show. Yeah.
I think just to hop on one more question that Jega asked, right? And then this is a question I find very funny sometimes in Malaysia. I feel that we lack the moral courage to tell the authorities what needs to be told. But if I look at it, right, we've got the players here, right? PIKOM, you can influence. You've got ScaleUp, who's trying to influence. You've got MDAC here. You've got, we have, you talk to Cradle. I mean, you talk to, Karam, you talk to all the ecosystem players, right? So when we say, what is this moral courage and who is this authorities? And that's the big question. Like, who are we talking about? Because it's always about them and us. And I can never quite understand this whole, that piece. So I'd love to hear your perspective on this, both Aaron and Kian Yew.
No, I think this is right. I think it cannot be. This is the government's job, and we sit down on our hands and hope that this. And that's kind of why we started ScaleUp as well, right? Because we're not going to wait for some other party to make things happen. We're going to try to do in our sphere how to make and help the ecosystem, help startups, help them grow and scale their business. So that's why we did it, right? But I do agree with you. There needs to be a good dialogue, and I'm really encouraged that the Rise is like bantering with us here on
he's saying, look, let's have an integrated approach, which I think is ultimately going to be a blessing for everyone. Because I bring up this Vision 2020, Vision TN50, and I don't know 80 or when that whole developed nation status, right? We're gonna keep talking about this unless we execute, unless we get our ducks together, unless there's an integrated approach, unless all of us come together, right?
And I think just to jump on that, right? I think like we had this thing of Vision 2020, and in many ways, a lot of us grew up with it, right? I did, right? And 30 years ago, we thought, 2020 is going to change. We're going to be different. So I think as Malaysians, we're a little bit kind of wary of these long-term plans, especially when the people who announced and implemented the plans may not be there to see it through at the end of the day, right? So that's why I'm kind of pushing, and I feel like the message should be, we want an 18-month plan. Like, show us something that we can do together. We're all in it. Like, if there's a mandate, we can work together. 18 months, let's get it done, because people will reward us for what we do in a short period of time.
And that creates accountability, because I can see 18 months, I can't see 30 years. Somebody else's problem at some point in time, you see.
No, so my point is, why the hell did PwC come up with a 10-year plan? Maybe the government says we want a 10-year plan. You must come back and they're all Malaysians, unless a bunch of Singaporeans or Somalians working.
Anyone from PwC here, Karam, has this big question?
No, right? You say wrong, we feel you're wrong. Look, this is the plan you want, right? It sucks. This is the plan that we think this country needs, right? You can do that. What the hell, man? I mean, really, it's like, what? And then surely, I hope that's a typo. That 20% GDP, by even if it's by 2023, that's I hope that's a bloody typo, because that would get me super pissed. Okay, because then that's really bad.
Okay,
plans are plans. You know, end of the day, plans are plans. You know, businesses don't wait for plans to.
Exactly, true.
So we're going to see a lot more innovation on its own, even with or without plan. A plan will help certain direction. I think you will see businesses be able to fit in and be able to capitalize on it.
Of course, no, businesses will go, but when you have so many countries in the world, but Roshan, when you have so many countries in the world where government is helping the extra step, right? So we also need to, because you get the money back through taxes and better salaries, right?
Yes and no, because yes and no, because I think part of the great thing about Malaysia, innovative and creativity came because of lack of resources. Sometimes things force you to do things that are different. Look at Singapore with all the resources. I mean, just as a point. Sometimes,
but
it's scarcity, right?
Yes, scarcity, but we are in a compressed time. We're in a race with others, right? Like we're in the top 40 or top 30 for many rankings, but we are aspiring to be in the top 20, right? Not 20%, not top 20%, but top 20 in the rankings, right? Which show we're making, because that means our companies are stronger, and that's what we want. So, PwC, I'm holding PwC down, and saying that this is a very safe and very boring, timelines they have agreed to. What the hell were they thinking, man?
So we had some PwC bashing, but just a couple more comments from Rais is we should build a vision like Malaysia 5.0, then have a 12 months plan reviewable. Raymond Devadas, also a pretty influenced guy. I think organizations are moving away from the traditional.
Absolutely,
second part to the message, but we and that's true. And I wanna just do this very quickly, because I think part of the question. So I wanna Aaron, you can't escape the test to guess challenge. I'm gonna do that.
How many times have I done this with you, man?
Never mind. This one's gonna be cool. Be very fast, Aaron. Very fast.
All right, let's go.
Tell me is because there's one question that will be applicable to Ong, but you have to answer it. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Absolutely not.
No. Okay, great. Here's the question: do you think PIKOM is old school? Why, and how can you help Ong fix the perception?
Okay, I think people think that PIKOM is old school because it doesn't have a lot of engagement with the startup space. But I know people who are there, people like Ganesh, and a couple like Sean as well, I know as well. These guys are quite dynamic guys. Sorry, Ong, it's the first time I'm meeting you. But I think there's a lot more that we can do, right? I think PIKOM should engage with guys. Come and let's have a chat with us in ScaleUp Malaysia. Let's do something together.
Ken, we know the guys, so I think we need to start talking. They are different. We can work together.
We'll leave these two guys out of it.
You guys. But Ong is a fantastic guy. I mean, he's an awesome guy. Okay, what's the funniest joke you know by heart?
Oh, I don't know any funny jokes by heart. But I think what's important, the joke I told today was important, right? Roshan, you and me, we're the progression to what we look like when we get to current level. I think it's important. Yeah.
I hope not.
I
hope not. Okay. Here's something that if you could start one secret society, what kind of secret society would you like to start?
So I was talking to somebody. I won't say who because I won't put him on the spot, right? So we looked at this council today from the blueprint, right? The Malaysia, My Digital Blueprint. Maybe we should create like a shadow council of industry people for each of these components, and we can talk about it privately, and we can advocate for stuff as the private sector.
Nice. So we'll get all the people on Tech Talk and we'll come up with this secret society.
Exactly.
I think just here enough. We have people who watch our show. I think are influential enough to start.
I think so. So currently we start the WhatsApp group. Okay.
I have to put a caveat. The next
supposed to be a secret society. You're telling it to the whole world, the word secret.
Our not so secret society. That's live on.
They don't know where we meet. It's like a speakeasy.
Last question. I have to have a caveat. This question came from Karam. Has nothing to do with me. Okay. So this question is: where is the strangest place you've urinated or defecated?
This one.
The fact that I have to think about it is important because this will help explain. It was okay. I can tell you the time. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning in the middle of the forest in a place called Mikkeli in Finland. Don't ask me how we got there. I forgot. But I remember it was pretty cold. So let's just say it was not a fun experience.
Okay, if you wanna be part of this secret society, you must recite this story. Then only then I can get you in. There you go.
They have to recite the story and know whether I urinated or defecated. They have to know
Ah,
that.
there you
That's
go.
a secret. There you go.
Okay, couple more quick comments coming in. I guess our chairman is very engaged. Engaged, and he's engaged with PIKOM. They are anything but old school. So there you go. And Ong, you've got your endorsement.
Validation.
There you go.
And this shadow council sounds brilliant. So this shadow government or shadow something is already in the works.
As long as no shadow cabinet coming up.
Yeah.
We're only interested in the digital economy, okay?
Yeah.
If you watch Netflix, there's a cabal which is part of Raymond Reddington's blacklist. So that's something that Aaron and Ong are going to put together. So Ong, very quickly, what are your final thoughts? As we wrap up this section. Any final thoughts we want to give our viewers? We've had quite a robust, exciting discussion. I mean, give us your final take of today.
Yeah. So I think it has been maybe said before. I think in the earlier parts, end of the day, we need to look at each and every one of these programs that we want to execute and to have measurable targets at the end of the day. This is a lovely, as a plan is lovely, but I think it's down to execution. So for example, public sector, what are the 10 things that you want to achieve in the next 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months? Similarly, for the private sector, you want 5,000 startups, you're not going to get it overnight. What can you do maybe in the short term? What can you do in the medium term? Then continue to, as Rais mentioned, have like a war room or situation room that people are monitoring. Maybe they're working full time on it, but every month or every 2 months they'll report on that.
Nice. Okay, and Aaron, what about you? Final thoughts?
So I guess my final thoughts are this: that I think this is one of the most important things we'll do as a nation for the digital economy. I think it's important that we get it right, and I think we need big, bold ideas that will show results quickly because people need help now. Students need access to education. People need financial support. Businesses need ways to digitize. We need this now. It's not like 10-year plan is great, but people need help today. And so I think the fierce urgency of now is really important because that's the only way we're going to turn this situation around from not being as far ahead, as far digital as we would like to be, to being the success that we could be as Malaysians.
Okay, and looks like we already got a host for our shadow
situation room.
Situation room.
Situation room.
MDEC's going to pick up the tab for hosting it. So there we go. Karam, looks like both of us got probably free lunch for a day or two. And there's it, situation room. We can host it. So there we go.
Awesome.
So look forward to MDEC taking the lead on that. Karam, you got work cut out. So you see, Tech Talk, we are not just talkers. We actually get things done on the show.
Finally after 59 shows or whatever, okay.
So it just has to win once, man, just to break it.
All we needed was to get PIKOM and Aaron together
and Dato' Rais to listen also,
and Dato' Rais and Dato' Munira and others on the show. So thanks everyone. It's been a fabulous. It's right about an hour. Karam, I just like to end, of course, with the most important man of the hour. So at least so he thinks. Karam, final thoughts from your beard, from your wise, sagely white-looking beard.
No, today the beard is in an angry mood, right? Because like I said, the plan is too cautious. They are not the only good timeline is the 5,000 startups by 2023, but you need a lot more. The timelines are weak at best. So I'm holding Pricewaterhouse accountable. They clearly showed like they had no spine. So I need to know why they came up with such a lame plan, because they themselves know if you don't measure something, it's never going to get done. And you cannot wait 5 years. We're in a race with other countries. Rais will talk about it, say we are behind. In fact, Rais, I think, is a bit too paranoid. He says too much. I say, you're a chairman of MDEC, maybe don't say it too much. But he said, we're behind. But he's got that sense of urgency, and that's the love for your country there, right? When you're so concerned, that causes you sleepless night. So everybody in the EPU, right, because there's a secretary in the EPU, I want to see them being sleepless. No, not going for holidays on Facebook, posting we're here, there. No, be sleepless, lose sleep, look haggard, look like me after 18 months. Oh, we are so stressed out because we're going to move the country along. That would be love it. But nobody rests easy. We got to move fast on this. Situation room is great. I'll go offline and talk to Aaron. No, not situation. Sorry, that is MDEC. But the shadow council is a great idea. I want to be part of it to help, and DNA will be a public platform for the scheduled councils, reporting also. Let's get that going, seriously, because we have to move forward, because all of Malaysia wins if we execute this plan well. And all non-Malaysians who are in Malaysia also, they will win also.
Yep. And great comment to close out. Government, industry, and academia needs to come together from And Karam, you might not be part of Tech Talk long, because looks like you're going to be chairman of this new. I don't know what they do, but looks like Karam is going to be the chair. He's going to be.
I already got a chair, so you got to find someone else. Too bad.
So maybe Karam with the table. So we'll figure that out as we come along. But guys, thanks a lot. It's been an exciting, robust discussion. Always great to have dialogues like this.
And thanks for the questions from many people also, right? Yeah. And we didn't get to some questions.
And I don't know what this means, but Zindabad. Whatever that means, sounds very exciting. So with that,
we Google it after this.
Thanks everyone. It's Friday, so go enjoy yourself. It's it's a weekend.
Except for the EPU secretariat, don't enjoy yourselves. Get cracking.
I think PwC, according to Karam, watch out if your partner PwC. Watch out, your house might be terrorized.
I'm going to get them on. I'm going to get them on the show next week Friday.
You got red pen or not? You got red pen? Huh?
We've got digital paint, if that helps.
I got a dog. I got a guard dog. Don't worry.
So with that, Karamjit Singh and PwC will be back next week with red paint. Happy Chinese New Year, everyone, for all of you in the middle of this special auspicious 2 weeks. With that, this has been Tech Talk Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone. We will see you next Friday, 6 p.m. Tech Talk Friday. I'm Roshan Thiran and Karamjit Singh. We are signing off for Tech Talk Friday. See you next Friday. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.